Good evening and welcome to another MTV Community Forum. I'm your host, Byron Campbell. Our co-host, Chris, is overseas. He may or may not join us. I'm uncertain, but he's overseas. So hello, Chris, wherever you are. So wherever you are, good evening, and we're happy that you can join us on MTV Community Forum. This evening, tonight, we have a special guest. We have representatives from the Grenada Green Group, or they call themselves the G3. We'll have representing us the President, Mandu Seals, the Treasurer, Hadasha Bukma, and they'll be talking about they are on a project to anti-litter campaign, particularly with plastic. So we're going to hear from them later in the program. In the meantime, I want to talk about a few physical things that are happening. Firstly, I want to talk about what's happening in the Woodford St. John's area. There is a quarry that is presently under construction. It is fairly advanced. It's 4 or 5 stories high, extensive area. We have damming of the upper river. So there's a lot happening there. It's pretty advanced. Interesting thing though, there is a community adjacent to the quarry. I'm talking about 100 or 200 yards from the quarry. And we know that a quarry is going to generate a lot of dust, a lot of noise, and therefore what is called an environmental impact assessment and the normal approval from the physical planning division is necessary. What I've been able to determine is that this has not happened, meaning that the quarry is fairly advanced in its operation and physical planning, the authority has not given development permission, building permission to proceed. So there's a major issue there. My further investigation tells me that the company and Renault has been issued orders not to proceed. So this is something that is bothersome, particularly for the community people there, because they have not been informed regarding what's going on there, what is the purpose, what is the noise level. So they've been kept out of this situation here. So there's a lot of concern about this matter, and it's something for the authorities to look at, because I think at this stage of our development, this is really unacceptable. You know, you cannot in 2024 proceed to establish a quarry, damming a river, constructing major buildings with communities adjacent without having the necessary planning, physical planning authority. This must not happen at all. We have a lot of experience with this happening in Grenada, in hotel projects and others. So let's do this right in this case, particularly for the health and welfare of our community. The other physical thing I want to go to is the Dragon Bay. It's an area that is very familiar to me, it is the entrance to the famous sculpture park. And in recent period, it has been in a terrible situation. Garbage everywhere. You have incomplete buildings, the toilets are closed, there's no water. You have also an incomplete bridge connecting Dragon Bay to the Happy Hill area. And so there's a problem there, and it's something that the authority should really look at, and because it's an important area. A lot of our tourists enter this area to go to the sculpture park by boat. And if we have it in such a condition, where is the pure? Where is the pure? Where is the So it's a contradiction here. There is something that is important and should be addressed urgently. Of course, we always talk a bit about the politics, and lately we've been hearing quite a bit by our politicians, whether it's the leader of the NNP and of course our Prime Minister. And as you know, our Prime Minister has been making the rounds on the morning shows. I know he's been on, we saw him on GBN morning program, and we've also seen him on MTV and other talk shows. But what is interesting, there's one particular clip that I found interesting, and this had to do with his trip to Africa. He was speaking about it, and he said, regarding the whole question of the trip and tourism, he said that he is the chief advocate for Grenada, maybe so. But what was interesting, he said, notwithstanding the role of the Grenada Tourism Authority and all the promotion and advertisement that takes place, he, the Prime Minister, is the biggest seller of Grenada. And went on to talk about Nigerians, other persons who have never heard of Grenada, they will now know about him. One gets the impression that that you're not recognizing the importance and the role of the tourism authority. In fact, one commenter on social media commented to the fact that Prime Minister was crowning himself, and there was some arrogance in the statement. But clearly, we have to recognize the critical role of the Tourism Authority and what it does and how it markets and promotes tourism. And it's a very expensive operation. I can tell you that it costs tens of millions of dollars annually to operate this important ministry or department, statutory organization. So I think it's important that we note that, and I just wanted to mention this. I want to talk also, raise the question also of housing. That I'm to understand that some 27 prefab houses were received as a donation, a gift from the government and people of Trinidad and Tobago. And these prefabs are presently being constructed or erected in Carriacou. But what is interesting is that what I learned is that these prefabs being constructed now have not been reviewed by or assessed by the Physical Planning Authority to determine to what extent they are hurricane resistance and other structural issues with them. So I think this is an important exercise because this is the function and role of the authority. Additionally, I want to say, still staying on the question of housing, that in recent week, we heard Minister Andy Williams and others talking about Build Back Better, and they actually constructed a model house which is being fabricated or built in Carriacou. My information is that some 10 or 12 of them are presently being constructed in Carriacou, and a number also in the north of the island. But what is interesting here is that the Planning Authority indicated that they have not reviewed these houses. They have not approved these houses, the physical, to what extent they are hurricane resistant and otherwise. So I think, so we have two standards here, because it's interesting to note also that the chairman of the Housing Authority of Grenada, Hugh Thomas, in his discussion on Project 500, which is something different, he's saying that these houses will be built according to standards. The standard should be that all houses, and most certainly Grenada sponsors houses, should be built to standards and approved by the Physical Planning Authority. And that makes sense. So how can Minister Williams proceed having an architect or a draftsman design a house, and you start building these houses to build back better and in a hurricane resistant situation, and Planning Authority has not approved them. This is something that should be looked at. It is important. Allow the Physical Authority to do their work. We should not have double standards in this situation at all. I want to comment also about the situation in Cuba. As you're aware, in the past week, Cuba has had major energy issues. The electricity grid went offline for some time. And on top of that, they had a hurricane, and there's been deaths and other destruction, particularly in the south of the country. They're in a bad way, and I think Barbados is responding to see what kind of aid and assistance they can make to Cuba. Maybe we should be doing same in Grenada, given to the extent that Cuba has come to our assistance in the past. But what is contributing more to the agony of the Cuban people is the ongoing U.S. embargo. It's economical, it's commercial, and it's financial embargo, and it's imposed by the U.S. against Cuba. Is extremely harmful to Cuba, But most important, it violates the UN Charter, which makes it illegal under international law. Year after year, the overwhelming vote of the United Nations is the embargo is illegal and it should be stopped. And the U.S. does this on the pretext that it lists Cuba as a state sponsor of terrorism. Clearly absurd. But this policy by the U.S. is having a devastating effect on the Cuban people, but more so it creates severe obstacles for countries looking to engage in trade and investment in Havana. Because if they choose, so if there's a company, for example, in any country that wants to trade with Cuba, the U.S. monitored this, and there are certain penalties that are attached to this company. So not just the U.S. by itself, but is the wider penalties that are carried out by the U.S. on companies wanting to trade and invest in Cuba. So this is very, very unfortunate situation, and it's something that we should talk about and we should be aware of. It is really very, very unfortunate matter. I've also been listening in the past week, the Minister of Health has been on television and talking about the situation in the Ministry of Health, in our health system. The previous interview I heard of him, he said, and I quote him, "Everything in the hospital is broken." But in a more recent interview, he said that there is 110 positions that are vacant in the hospital. And these are positions of technical personnel, not just nurses and nursing assistants, technical personnel, like in your laboratory and other areas. And what he's saying is that to go on, it depends on volunteers. It depends on health brigades coming in from overseas to help us with our dental and other situation. And also they're depending now on retired nurses and other health professionals to volunteer or to come in and help. So the question, I mean, I'm asking this question, should we be focusing on fixing this, on remedying this situation there, or should we be focused on the more multi-million or billion facilities that we are talking about that the government has plans to start with? Maybe both of them, but clearly it is time that we have to get our health right, the basic health right, the elementary aspect of it. I'm kind of worried about this as we speak. Persons are saying, look, you can't afford to get sick because that's a problem. So it's worrisome. We have at the same time to recognize the health workers that are there, that are able to function and performing in the way they are, giving all the services. So we need to recognize them for their work that they're doing. But certainly there's a lot to be done, and I really hope that the ministry is doing the adequate planning and work that is required in going forward. So these are matters. These are the things that I want to mention here today. And lastly, just to say a little about Haiti. Haiti remains very worrisome situation. Information this week, yesterday, is that the gangs are getting more powerful. Executions and killings continue. So the situation in Haiti, in other words, whereas we have the African forces there and others representing the United Nations, a lot more work needs, a lot more dialogue and attention by the world, by the United Nations, need to be focused on Haiti. The suffering that is taking place there is really, really acute at this time. So viewers, I want to end this part of the Chit Chat program here. Stay with us. When we get back, we'll be joined by, as we said, representative from the G3 environmental group. We'll be chatting about plastics and the dangers to our civilization and our society. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
After a disaster or emergency, Packing foods in clusters in the freezer helps to keep them cold for longer periods of time. A message from the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council.
Welcome to the future of shopping with Real Value IGA mobile app. Now, your favorite supermarket is right in your pocket. Whether you're a student, a busy parent, or in the diaspora shopping for friends and family at home, a Yachty or a Grenadian, our mobile app has you covered. Shop online with our mobile app from anywhere and enjoy free delivery to St. George and St. David. Or you can pick up your groceries in-store, hassle-free. Convenience, savings, and a seamless experience in Grenada. All right here at your fingertips. Download the Real Value IGA mobile app and start shopping today. Real Value IGA, bringing the supermarket to you.
Grenada, watch out now! Football lovers! The 14th edition of the YGT Super Knockout is here again on Saturday, October 26th. Will be the grand opening at Victoria Park in Grenville. Yes, Big Parish. The football action kicks off with two big opening games from 7 p.m. Game 1,
Unlace Authentic Sneaker Store, SAFL
versus Sunjets United. Then in Game 2,
Hat Rock Montreach FC
versus Glass Herb Roots. After the game, we head stateside for the young, trending Jamaican dancehall sensation, Mali Dawn.
Rum please. She a drink and still want rum please.
Mali Dawn.
Just pick up 4 girl reach for the total.
Also featuring Sakina and the Alpha One Band, Break the Store, and the biggest trending song, Black and Dan. Admission $50. The 14th edition of the YGT Super Knockout is on this Saturday, October 26th. Don't miss a game.
Are you ready? Let's go!
Grenada. Get ready as the new National Party invites all to its 40th anniversary fundraising bingo event. Sunday, October 27th from 5 p.m. at Victoria Park, Grenville. Over $100,000 in cash and prizes to be won. Imagine you can win a Suzuki Ignis hybrid car, $50,000 in cash, plus other fantastic prizes. Tickets are $60 for one or $100 for two. Free buses will be available island-wide. Don't miss it, or you might just see your neighbor driving a Suzuki Ignis. Sunday, October 27th, we're heading to Victoria Park in Grenville for the new National Party 40th Anniversary Fundraising Bingo.
Welcome back, viewers, to MTV Community Forum. I'm your host, Byron Campbell. Co-host Chris Diali is out of state. Wish him well. We're here, the second part of the program. Our guests are representative from the G3, that is the Grenada Green Group. And we have with us the president, Mr. Mandu Searles, and and the president, of course, and Hadashi Bukma, the treasurer. We may have joining us the secretary. We're unsure. If he comes on, he'll join us via Zoom. Good evening, Madam, Mr. to MTV Community Forum. Introduce G3 and explain how the coalition came together. What is G3?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. 20 years ago, I bust into Association to office. And my good buddy, Eon, some of you know him as Pink Panther on his, on his hash and so.
Yeah.
And I said to him, we have to do something about this litter in Grenada. It was terrible. So that's how we started. That's before G3. We started as a cleanup group. But down the road, we realized that's not working. The more you clean, is more people dirty. I'll give you an example. We made a cleanup in Simone on the Saturday. And I passed back the Monday, and there's much more garbage than what we saw there on the Saturday. So no, we decided let us move of a preventive group. Instead of a cleanup crew, a preventive crew. So in 2014, we formed G3, Grenada Green Group. We had people in and people out. That's how it all came about, okay? We had good people in, as I say, in and out, but we had good folks, good helping, good not helping, but like all groups, as you know, today in Grenada, we are more one active, if not the most active in Grenada today.
Yeah. So if I was going to ask Ms. Buckmeyer, so what motivated the group therefore to focus on anti-litter campaign? Why and targeting plastics specifically?
Well, most of the persons in the group has unified desire for a healthy environment. Some of the individuals actually majored their study in environment. Now, plastics is a universal issue in the way it affects the marine life, in the way it affects the environment itself. Now, Grenada is a tourism spot, and we have huge tourism visiting every year. And we saw that it was becoming a pandemic in Grenada, where everywhere you turn for a country so small, there is so much litter. And then just casual going about your day-to-day life throughout the country, people just litter without a care. And it became increasing, and then we have networked closely with solid waste. And then you hear about the Perseverance landfill not having much lifespan, you know, and it just kept getting worse. And we decided that, as Mandu said, you know, he shared his vision. We also had that same wish to see the country in a healthier place. And so Grenada can be the eco-stability of the country, you know, as an eco-friendly country. And we decided at the end of the day, plastic seems to be the major garbage that you find anyway, and water bottles to besides.
So go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, you know, we decided on the campaign that we want to find a way to lessen the waste and find a way so that the plastic waste can be turned into raw material that can benefit, instead of having it thrown out. They don't dissolve, you know, and it's just getting worse. So we decided we had to play our part as a group in getting that done, and that's why we focused on plastic, because it's a major one that you find.
Mandu, you're a tour operator. How has plastic or litter affect the industry? The fact that we call Grenada pure Grenada. So that was part of the motivation for you. You saw a contradiction there?
Precisely. It's big time. You know, beautiful country, you read about it, you visit, and then you may see a nice rainforest, but then what's part of vacation? A load of garbage next door. Yeah?
This story you want. Yeah. So what is a primary source?
How do you answer that question? You know, when people ask that question, you sort of got to pull back. You know, well, it's a ticklish thing to answer. So, I mean, it's a worldwide problem.
But what is the primary source of our plastic pollution on the island?
There'll be water bottles.
Water bottles.
Water bottles. Yes, the PT and the PT. Yeah, the PT. As you see on the bottom, those are the biggest.
Water bottles.
We average. I think we use on average about 50 million plastic bottles every year.
50 million
plastic.
Grenada. And that's a lot.
All used to go to Perseverance.
That's a lot.
Thank heavens that we create now with solid waste. We have some very good people inside, like Ms. Julia and Mr. Boykin. So I don't know if you know what is happening now. A lot of people don't know the separation. The plastics now is going to Queen's Park, and they have a shredder.
So that's your project. So tell us about this.
That project we want to work with solid waste, helping them out. And so we got a small funding from Unite Caribbean. It's a pilot project between Grenada and Dominica. So we started in June, and the first Saturday in the month is our collection day. People bring it, we wait, we keep the records, and so we'll give you some figures here. In June, we had 179 pounds. In July, 544. In August, 481, September, 1101, October, 1687. All right. And St. Patrick, the first pilot we went to St. Patrick was only 41, but St. Andrew was 230 pounds. That's a lot of plastic. Talking about power.
But the bigger question, friends, are that how do you change? Let me give you an example first. The Jones Road in Mount Morris now, you're aware that because of the work in Molinier, the main road is now, you have to go through Mount Morris now, the Jones Road. And there's a crew doing debushing there. And I was told this morning that they have been picking up bags of plastic bottles and other waste along the roadside. So and these have been thrown from vehicles.
Yes.
You understand? How do we change the behavior of our citizens regarding pollution? Because it's one thing to go and collect and clean up, but that doesn't solve the problem because we continue doing it. So how do you change the behavioral patterns?
First, the
What is your group doing
the
for that?
amendment of the Litter Act of 2015.
So there's a law.
There is a law since 2015,
Yeah.
Litter Act, but there's no enforcement. Even the police has no proper documentation to charge anyone. So this is where we met with our government officials on both parties, and so that's what we're trying to do. Let us get the law going first. Appoint wardens or whatever, they could charge people. Start somewhere. As you know, we have laws in Gray and there's no enforcement. So this is one of our biggest problems. But in the communities, we visit schools, communities, and so on. We're trying to get people now, especially take for instance, we get the schools on board. In 1 month, we had a whole truckload of plastic bottles from SAS School in Grenville. A whole truckload in 1 month. So we have a prize for the school that collected the most plastic, about $1,000.
Right.
You've got to get an incentive.
Incentive, yes,
to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Thank heavens that GHTA would come on board with us, with
Yeah.
tourism. I just signed a memorandum of understanding with them. So they will help us now.
GHTA, what's
Grenada Hotel and Tourism Association.
right.
They are on board.
Okay.
I just signed the MOU with them.
Okay.
Because I'm one of the
Right.
directors
right.
as well.
Right.
So that fund will help us now to spread our wings. We're trying to get. I realized the 3 bins that solid waste put down is not really working because people are not reading what to put in which. They just throw it.
Yes.
Now there is a bottle, and we
Yeah,
saw the big
yeah.
bottle in Command Park as well at the
Yeah.
airport.
Yeah.
All right, we're looking at trying to work with more of these bottles. So it's just that people put it in schools,
Yeah.
let people pick it up.
Yeah.
You call us,
Yeah.
and we will probably work in close to solid waste.
Yeah.
They will pick it up and bring it to Queen's Park. Not Perseverance,
Yeah.
as you know what is happening up there, as
Yeah.
you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so this is our objective. This is our way going forward. Well,
There's a bigger issue here, though, the question of plastics, particularly from bottles, and the danger the health dangers to it. Is this a factor? What is your awareness of? Is this a factor that the group take into consideration? And is there any education around this?
Oh yes, education. Well, I'm big on mindset reset. And he mentioned a while ago that we have this competition with the schools whereby we give a prize of $1,000 to the school that has the heaviest amount or collects the most. And it's funny that the school's interest, even though in schools it is taught about, decomposition and composting and the plastics don't compose and stuff like that, it was not only after the incentive of money being paid, even though it's being taught in school and it's universal, it's on health, the Ministry of Health, the mosquitoes and keeping the bottles from gathering water and collecting water as well. And it's not only after an incentive was given that you saw the interest of individuals coming out. Even on the depots, on the Saturday mornings, they would ask, what's in it for me? What am I getting? Am I getting a prize?
Serious.
What's in
And
it
I'm
for
like,
me?
but it's your health, it's a country, it's the economy, it's the
yeah,
environment,
yeah,
the health factor of it, teaching you, the effects of it. And it is just a mindset reset. As he says, the laws are not being enforced, thanks to Aria St. Louis. We've been really, bombarding her to push and get it done, and she's been working along with us, and having the dialogues, we're in the consultations and stuff like that. But it's a mindset reset, because I don't think I can come into your home and find a bit of it looking like Perseverance. Well, I hope.
Yeah.
You're not going to just take a plastic bottle, drink
Yeah.
it, and just dump it. It's
Yeah,
not okay.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know that's unsanitary. You know what's going to happen. But yet you do it in public where everybody is and other persons are visiting.
So sorry, go ahead.
As you
Nandu.
mentioned, the danger,
Yeah.
over 33 billion pounds of plastic is
Yeah.
dumped in the ocean every year. Little Grenada, what we show there, plastics break up into microplastics. The
And
fish
nanoplastics,
and nanoplastics.
so even smaller.
The fish are eating the plastics.
Yeah.
We are eating the fishes.
Yeah.
So 30 years from now, when you get a hamburger, won't be fish, probably be plastic eating.
Yeah, that's an important point, because
Yeah.
I was looking at some data, and this came from the UN. The world is drowning under the weight of plastic pollution.
Plastic pollution.
With more than 430 tons of plastic
That's right.
produced annually, and microplastic found in the world's ocean, food and drinking water. And this is according to the UN Environmental Program. But what's interesting from the Caribbean Bulletin, he says the Caribbean is one of the world's most plastic polluted regions.
Sure.
With Grenada contributing significantly due to poor waste management practices. Study estimated that the region produces 1.32 million tons of plastic waste annually. So Grenada, we are not doing very well here.
No.
I mean, somebody visiting Grenada, this is public information. They'll see that we are not doing very well in our waste management practices.
Well, the point is, my friend, to how do we change habits? The point is, you have to look at some of the tuck shops in schools using too much plastic. I mean, you remember one school with a whole ton load of plastic. I mean, it's, yes, they tell you to eat healthy. Yes, we know it's expensive to eat healthy, but still, who want to make some go sport juice or some lime juice and go to school with it? Instead of you taking a chubby or a buster or so. These things are killing you.
So we can,
and then we.
But can policies adjust this? So, for example, if you're going to be operating a tuck shop, there could be certain standards that you could apply. Like if you look at the Happy Hill Secondary School, in the bus stand there, at the entrance of the school, there is an individual who, I mean, that's his livelihood. But most of the snacks or sugar related. All the drinks are in plastic bottles, sugared sweet. So if you're going to operate in front of the school, it's fine. But we could regulate and say, look, what you can and cannot sell there. So where's the education part? Who's going to change those habits of the young people? I mean, if you look at the school feeding program, for example, is fresh drinks served, meaning locally produced juices? So how do we change the habit? That's my concern, because we talk about it, we talk about the dangers of it, we talk about I've been learning about this thing in preparation for this, that the nanoplastic, the small, in a very small quantity, there are hundreds of thousands of particles of nanoplastics that you're ingesting when you drink bottled water. Is go through your system. It's so tiny that it could reach as far as your heart. And there's, in fact, the people who does the research have stopped drinking bottled water.
I don't drink bottled water. I don't drink bottled water. No need. We have some of the best water in the world. Now also water is some of the best water in the world.
It's amazing that even another aspect of it is the companies that sell. We have tried to approach companies that actually produce and sell these
water.
And not all of them come on board. Not all of them come on board. Apparently one particular seller mentioned to the secretary and said, he asked her, he said, so what happens with the bottles after you said that's
so
a government
let's
problem.
go there. So what happens with the bottles that you collect?
This is the problem.
Because most of these bottles, you see written on them recyclable, but they aren't. The majority are not recycled. They end up in the dump site or in the sea. So what with your project? What is happening to the bottles you collect?
The bottles we collect, we weigh the bottles. We keep data of it and so.
Right. Yeah.
We work closely, as I told you, with solid waste. The truck come and pick it up and take it to Queen's Park.
Yeah.
At Queen's Park is where they will do the shredding. They have a small machine, hoping to get a bigger one.
Yeah. And this is the what do you call them? WASA.
We need a solid waste.
Solid waste authority.
Yeah. So
statutory
that's
body.
yes.
Yeah.
Another where we take into, as we go into the communities and the schools, what we do, we're trying to get, as I said, bins inside there.
Yeah.
The big bottle bins, the mesh wire bins and so, which is more attractive to see. Hopefully it will work.
Yeah.
And let the fill it whenever they give us a call. We'll work with solid waste or get trucks. That's what we try to get. We got some funding for at the moment, and take it to Queen's Park instead of Perseverance.
So once it's shredded, what happens there?
That I think is the plan. I think, as far as I'm saying, is to export, but you have to have the volume. It takes the volume.
The volume.
And get more. Probably it costs you more to export it than what you get for it. But the point is, what do you do with it? Either if you put it into concrete blocks or make
Yeah.
things out of it or
Yeah.
some things like that.
But what, yeah, go ahead, please.
Just
Yeah.
to add, it's supposed to be shipped back. You can make things like blocks and even plastic chairs
Yeah.
that can help,
Yeah.
economies of scale. But to my alarm, the processing plant at Point Celine is not totally and properly equipped. There are too many missing parts of the system to get this effectively done here on island. And my question is, there are taxes and stuff that are being charged onto your utility bills. Why is it that they are lacking these machines, and where is the funding? What's happening? So that's another major thing that we spoke to Marina Julian, who is such a darling and working along with us so closely.
Yeah.
We ask her for anything, and solid waste is there. She provides the facilities, she provides the personnel, she is there on a call. So she's really, really been working along with us in this issue. But they really need to have these machines to complete that, because when you listen to the statistics, we actually took a tour to Perseverance before it is like it was last year. Or before we took that tour, and they told us that this is a new section. They moved across from the old section. We toured the entire site, and we were told that they had a couple years. We passed up recently going up to the country Ian and I was shocked to see that new area we passed last year that was practically empty, literally filled to capacity.
There's a fire there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
Halifax cell, the new
Halifax
cell.
side, the new
cul-
site, fire
of
there.
cells.
This is a deliberate fire, or this is an accident? I mean,
Well, also the thing go inside is you don't know
Yeah.
what is catching.
No, yeah.
But let us go to plastic bags.
yes, yeah, because that's where I want to go. The question
Yeah.
of plastic reduction policies. What policies can we
We
introduce?
ban plastic bags with handles, not without handles. Okay?
Oh, so those without handles are not
They're
banned.
not banned. Those with handles are banned. But the point is, what is happening now? You see an increase now in those without handles. Take, for instance, you go to, let's say, a pharmacy,
Yes.
and you purchase medication, whatever. It's in a sealed bag already, and they still give you another little plastic bag
To put it in.
to put it in. You could do all that. We are the first who started cloth bag going to supermarkets,
Yeah.
Even before supermarkets started bringing it in, we are the first who started. We used to make them and sell them.
Yeah.
But then now it's
Yeah, because there's a law now. But what else? So you're saying that the non-handled plastic there should also be restrictions on the
Well, they
use?
have to look at ways and means. Yes,
Yeah.
it's difficult if you buy a pound of fish or things like that,
Yeah.
what you're going to put it in. But
Yeah.
still, we have to find ways and means that we have to reduce
Some
it.
countries have banned them
Altogether,
altogether. You make
altogether.
altogether.
Yes. So this is a way that we have to look at going forward. This is an island,
We have to be reminded that that's an island.
It's an island, my friend.
So the recycling, the landfills, the situation is there. Is not. So your
we have
work.
to
So
have
your
that-
work. So your work. The impact is going to be very limited if you have all these constraints.
Yeah, but you got to remember too that we are
you've started.
we're voluntary. Yeah, we are working
course,
people. Yeah,
yes.
we're just voluntary
Yeah,
doing this.
yeah.
You know, a good 40% of what goes to the landfill can be composed in people's backyard.
That's correct.
Or like your mango skin and your fig peel and so, which is a good thing to compose. But we send everything to the landfill. When are we going to start the separation in your home? It could take a generation, but we have to start doing like the big world. Yeah, you put your tin one way, your plastic way. We have to start doing things like that to reduce land space. You don't want a landfill in your backyard.
No.
Nobody wants a backyard. So we're going to go.
I think we need to get it back to the primary level where you taught because when I was in primary school, agriculture,
Yes.
you have a little compost heap and you're so excited to go home, and every time mommy about to throw a potato skill, the peel, no mommy, it's composting, look at what we learned, the backyard kitchen gardening. I don't understand where that teaching has gone. You listen to primary school children and there's no speaking
So
and
this should be
conditioning.
introduced back into the
Back
school
into the
system.
primary schools, as young as possible.
Public education, raising awareness
Mindset
on
reset.
littering.
And it's serious because I've seen it, literally grown people in private vehicles just toss it out, and I'm like, you're very nasty. And somebody look, oh, they're ready to cuss, but they say, nice lady. I said, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I said, look at what you're teaching the child. I said, come out and pick it up. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. I'm like, come on, the kids,
That's
they're
where
looking on.
the Bill Letter Act comes in
Yeah,
2015.
Yeah.
You know,
One of the things
we
that
learn
I
is on.
learned also is that a huge part of the plastics and other pollution waste comes from packaging. In other words, that's where the major issue is, so that the packaging all kind of plastic and non-recyclable materials
Styrofoam,
that
all these
is
things
used.
comes there, yeah.
And we have no regulations on this, you know. And in a lot of instances, the companies, some are international companies, the ones that they're shipping to quote unquote us, to the world, is not the same ones that are being marketed or sold to their local consumers, like in the United States, for example. So there's a double standard, you know. So it's like it's a kind of dumping, like, you know.
I brought it up to a consultant probably 2 weeks ago in a meeting down there.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, same question. Asked, so why are we going to reduce what you sent us? Because understand it's a small island state, small and developing state. You can't keep dumping all your garbage to us.
Yeah.
We can handle it.
Yeah. So going beyond plastics, what are some of the G3? What do you see? Where do you see the organization going? What kind of other issues do you see picking up beyond plastics?
Well, education, public awareness.
Yeah.
We're trying to target every 23 secondary schools and 56 primary schools, whatever in that figure. That's our aim, is to target each and every one. You could have a teacher who actually teaches these things you could communicate with. So that was our goal.
Because go ahead, please.
Well, we've been approached by individuals who seem to have produced a lot of glass bottles as well. And we were asked if there's a processing plant here in the country that deals with glass bottles. So one particular lady said to me she has the open back cap. She has about 5 of that. And she has one every month. And she has a plethora of different friends because they drink a lot. They come down after retiring from the cold. So they drink.
You say they drink a lot,
like wine and the champagne. And you know, the girls come over, we chatting, you know, they are of that age, they're retired. Yeah. And I said, Grenada really needs to have a serious processing plan for these things. Because now we're being asked even about metal. So
but do we have the volume to
well, that's the other thing.
I think
it's a community project.
Maybe the OECS we can
but we can't
work together.
We can't look at the negative part of it.
Yeah.
Look at the volume. We have to do something.
We have
to do something.
So
it's like you as an individual. I would tell you, when you have your few plastic bottles home, don't send it to solid. Don't sell it up there. Put it in a bag. Keep it there. And if you come along Grandlands on a Saturday, the last drop it there. We can come on past.
So that's the other thing, information for the public to know about this. In other words,
that's what we are here tonight.
If I'm consuming bottles, if I'm using plastic bottles, what do I do? Tell me about it.
Put it in a plastic bag, put it whatever.
Collect
them.
Yeah. Any plastic bottles?
The first Saturday, there's more the PTE and the AGP, it mark on the bottom.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Collect it, keep it there, and when you're coming down to...
make sure it's empty.
Well, yes.
Make sure it's empty. Empty it. You can leave the cork on
yes,
it?
Yes, you
leave
can.
the cork.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Just nip into Come On Park the first Saturday in the month. And just
first Saturday of every month.
Every month.
Yeah,
just nip
first
in there and
Saturday.
give it to us.
So this Saturday we'll be looking at
the second or the first
2nd of November.
2nd of November.
Yeah.
This is for the day in Come On Park?
We want to start moving from like 10 to 3.
10 to 3 o'clock.
So you have enough
Drop your
time.
plastic
Drop
off
your
there.
plastic right there.
And that's simple enough.
We'll take it from there.
It is. You have the little tokens as well. You have children.
The problem we faced in St. Patrick was getting each household on board to the expense to grow on that truck to every household.
Yeah.
But if they can't move it and you give us a call we'll try and come and help.
Or if you set up a central place
we
there?
had a central place.
You had a central
we
place.
But
it wasn't successful.
It was a first project, so it was pretty good, but it will get better. Same as the one at St. Andrew was pretty small. But
so for the time being, it is primarily
at Come On Park.
Every first Saturday of the month.
Yeah. And will be first Saturday at the bus terminus in Grenville.
Okay, so it's the same first Saturday.
Same thing. One part of the group go there. We work very close with Sado and St. Andrew and Spectre in St. Patrick, Claudette and them. So we're working with people. They're quite proactive too as well. So the group is a lot of people doing things that you don't know about.
How possible is it an individual who recognizes the important work G3 is doing and wants to join, wants to get involved? How is that possible?
It's easy. We have Facebook page. We have, just get us on Facebook. We have a website. Just give us just say you could join or be a membership. It costs you like not much, only $30 a year.
Okay.
It's just a
token,
membership fee, a token.
Yeah.
It's pretty small and that easy. So
there is a lot of, I call it green funds. Particularly with the climate change and other factors, and I will rather suspect that an initiative like what you're doing, the anti-litter and clean and so on, are very feasible for financing. Are you looking at doing bigger projects?
That's where this lady comes in. You know?
Tell us about that. What about the future things you're looking at?
I have been applying to so many, and it's, the AI technology in which we're living in now. Once I put it in Google, from that first initial funding agency, I get 3 every day. I open my Google, open my emails, and it just comes. And I've been applying. I mean, the last one I did was the Commonwealth. We've done the ACE Biodiversity, and there are a couple others that we have applied to. And the response is great, but we're told that so many Caribbean islands have also applied. Yeah, so it seems like people are
first come,
first serve. Yeah, so we're just hoping that we, that's why we continue to work with the local donors, and we keep to, to publicize what we're doing, our website, our social media pages, word of mouth, be out there. We have our t-shirts, we have our bags, we have our pens, we have our pencils, tokens. You go with your water bottle so that the word gets out. So we're really hoping that the funding that we have attempted to acquire, that we get positive response.
That's why I was very, very thankful for the Green Talent Organization coming on board with us. They understand.
So Tourism Authority, Amanda, I want to go there back again, because as a tour operator,
So don't mix up GHTA and GTA. It's two different, more or less.
Yeah, two things. I'm going now with Tourism Authority, because of course we have the slogan Pure Grenada, it's like, and as you say, it's a contradiction for you sometimes. You're embarrassed sometimes when you take your, you said, your tours, and this has been one of the motivational factors for you getting on board this initiative and putting your time and energy into it, because it touches you. You see it more than anything else.
It should touch all of us.
All of us. It should touch all of us. And therefore, I feel, what about the other authorities that, you're a voluntary group, but what about the authorities that have resources and can do bigger initiatives on this collaboratively, probably? Are you getting any energy coming from them?
Not at the moment. Hopefully, now as we're trying to expand around the island, hopefully people will see us and know what we are doing and come on board and at least do some sponsoring and stuff.
You didn't talk about much of this pollution, what it has on sea life, but
marine life is...
Marine life is... So one of the things that I saw, Mando, you should know, is that we have a culture here of sea moss cultivation and production. And what I've noticed is that some of these cultivars, some of these persons involved in the production, the growing of sea moss, they use plastic bottles for flotation. And very often it's abandoned. It's left on strings. If you go to Woodford Bay, for example, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's there, I've seen it. And naturally, the plastic breaks down over time, and it's broken down over time, and microplastics get absorbed, and it gets back to our diet. But something like that is a policy. You spoke about it. Tell me about it.
All you have to do is caulk, and you solve part of your problem.
Because you just want flotation.
You just want flotation. There's no need to use plastic. Again, you go to Seamoon area, or you go across Seamoon, you go across to Maki or Subies, even Telescope Point. It's the same thing you're seeing. Loads of plastic bottles. There's no need to use plastic bottle for the flotation.
It looks ugly to start with. It's unsightly.
It's unsightly and it's deadly.
And it's deadly. So this is something that the Fisheries Division, particularly there's fund financing. I saw where there is going to be a payout, for example, to sea moss cultivars, growers. Funds should, that should be probably conditions on.
Yes, you set the standards and so.
Your standards.
Yes, so we saying to big sponsors like different Grand Lake and so, say to the company like Carnival Times, listen, part of the condition is that after the pickup, or you keep mentioning all the time inside the shows, keep it clean, home your plastic, or pick it up. So just don't just shows and leave those. That's part of the conditions for every sponsor who's sponsoring any show, any event. You have to clean up after, or you ban a lot of plastics from coming in. That's probably part of it.
So littering is really a behavioral factor,
Mindset
as you
reset.
said.
It's a cultural thing
reset, yeah,
sometimes.
mindset reset.
So how do we, and the work again, the advocacy, how do we, some of the elders already, there's no change there, how do we work with the younger generation of persons to begin to have this behavioral change, you know, and to recognize, look, I mean, first of all, I have the ability to make a decision not to use this plastic item. Or if I'm going to use a plastic item, it's a reusable one, you know, that I'm going to be using it. But there are a lot of handicraft, because I've seen, Mandu, I've seen in the Bushiju area, where an individual using plastics, they've made beautiful bouquets with these plastics. Very attractive. So there are handicraft
Of course.
and other utility functions that you can utilize your plastics in. Are you guys thinking of such a program also where you can demonstrate not necessarily collecting, because there's all size of plastics, you know, and utilization of plastic, where they could be put into put into use rather than discarding and so on. Is this something that G3 intend to pursue?
We're looking at it this is not small projects to him, but because you have to have the support from you know, the government, you have support of the communities, and so. But yes, flower pots, all these things.
Exactly.
You can make it. That's all. This is part of the answer. It's happening around the world, happening in other countries. So why we cannot do this?
We do teach it in school. It's one of the topics. What today is? Yesterday we were in day before we were in Tam-Sisi, and it was one of the discussions we had. Something that I'm encouraging the reuse of these things, because I did it in primary school.
Okay.
And there's one thing that I must mention though. We had a slideshow. Ian was the one that moderated that session, and he had a slideshow of different experiences and what happens as a result of littering. At the end of it, a question was asked to the students, did you enjoy? He asked them, you know, did you enjoy? What's the impression of it? You know, the response was, you need to shock us and scare us into seeing the effects of it. We understand it's not good for you. We understand how deadly it is, but we want something that scares us, that rocks us. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I stood up and I said, okay, let's engage, let's chat. I said, do you know the effects of plastic on the environment? Yes. Do you know the effects it has on you as a person? Yes. Do you know the long-term effects of it on your health? Yes. I said, how old are you? You're old enough in college. That means you're 16, 17. You're way past 7. You have the knowledge to understand, because they're brilliant kids. I cannot relate to them. They're brilliant. And they're saying that, yes, we know that. They even gave reference of smoking and drinking. They know the effects, but they want to see your lungs burning on fire. They want to see the worst of it happening. They want to see the cancer. Show them pictures of persons who have experienced cancers as a result, and that will give them a shock. And I'm like, Lord, I keep saying it adamantly, mindset reset, mindset reset. There needs to be a drastic mindset reset. That the abatement needs to be done, needs to be enforced. There needs to be charges. It needs to be on television. That's what they're asking for. Shock them, scare them. I'm like, are you kidding me? Mindset reset.
And these are young people
telling us that. So we need to go way back into primary school, start from there, and build and implement and inculcate into them what's happening. And it's getting worse, but they need to have that scare tactic. I was like, if it's not incentives, we want money to do what.
This is not good.
This is not good. So
whoa. But what about at the home? What's happening there? What is the influence on parents also?
Well, the kids had to teach their parents.
Yeah,
unfortunately. It's wrong in doing it. Unfortunately, it's the other way around. Where the parents will be teaching the children will have to teach the parents, because that's what they did, these campaigns in places like Sweden and Denmark and these countries 30 years ago. Children these days don't live in those countries.
As you talk about it, you know that song? Bits of paper, bits of paper. What's it going again? Lying on the floor. Lying on the floor. We probably need to get back to that, you know. I mean, because the whole question there was anti-litter. Anti-litter. You don't throw things, you don't litter, you know. And what we're saying is a crime. There's a law. So what about enforcement now? I have seen, Mandu, a policeman, this bus was stopped on H.A. Blaze Street, and someone threw a cup outside the bus, but there was a policeman outside. on the street. He went to the person. He stopped the bus. Well, told the bus, and the person came out of the bus and picked it up. I congratulated that policeman for carrying out that action. They charged them, but it was embarrassing for the individual because they had to come out of the bus in public, pick it up, and go back inside the bus with it. You know?
Name and shame. That's what you have to do.
Name and shame. Yeah.
That's what you have to do.
The thing is, though, with those kind of pollution, most of the time you don't see it because they're driving a car speeding and it's out, or a bus, and it's out. So I just want to
even illegal dumping is a big problem.
It's a big problem.
Since the road has been went down in Molineux, it has increased. If you're speaking to solid waste, but now there was a special unit now they set up. I heard on the television they actually found a culprit, the salt.
Yes.
So he brought the code. So these examples you have to shed on people.
Yeah.
So you pay to take it to perseverance, but look what you're doing. You had some Coney corn and just dump a whole load. I mean,
unacceptable. Even I've seen where a truckload of stuff have been dropped. But colleagues, we run out of time. I mean, what last thought, what last word you want to leave audience with on your initiative?
Simple. As I said, mindset reset. We all have one life to live. We don't get a second time around. I believe that as fast as you go on through life, you see errors, you try to fix it. Litter is a problem. Grenada is a beautiful place. It's our island. We can travel abroad for many years, but we always want to come back home. Let's keep home clean, safe, and healthy so that the future generation and us can enjoy it as best as it can. It's a paradise. Let's just keep it that way. Keep that pride, that patriotism.
Mr. President.
And the point is, we did mention we don't get people getting the wrong perception that we're doing it for tourists. Tourists come and they go.
It's for us.
We live here.
Yeah.
It's for us.
Yeah.
Let's think back what we had chikungunya, we had Zika, we had all these things that we're not learning from these things. You understand? These things that wreak havoc in the communities. You know that in those days, all because of bad practices.
Mosquito,
all these things.
And that's the important point you make, man. It's not. We're doing it for us. At the same time, when our visitors come in, we should be proud in showing them. Yeah, exactly. That's the point. It's not. It's ours. This is who we are.
This is ours.
And you're saying that we can do this. We can do better.
We can do a lot better.
I mean,
we're not done, people.
Precisely. So the takeaway for me is that our lifestyle, manage the plastic we use. Think of the health aspect of it, what we're consuming, it's real. But most important, every first Saturday at Cameron Park between 10 and 3 o'clock and at St. Andrews, Grenville bus terminal, you can bring your plastic bottles.
Bring your bottles.
Thank you very much. That's all the time we have.
Thank
you very much. Viewers, thank you for being with us, MTV Community Forum. Again, I made excuse for my co-host Chris. He's out, but hopefully he'll be back with us next week. Thank you for being with us wherever you are on Facebook, YouTube, or MTV Channel 18. And thanks to our technical staff as usual. See you next week, same time, same place. Bye-bye.